Hey y'all. So, something I want to discuss in this critical question forum. I did want to cover some of the social detriments of health. I was sort of aware of this already, um, solely based on um, the neighborhood that I live in, or the area that I live in. I see how there's a lot of segregation still amongst neighborhoods, at least in the Newton, Catawba County area, particularly Newton, and how there are certain neighborhoods with a certain demographic that do not get the maintenance, they don't get the care that, say, more affluent neighborhoods would, with a higher concentration of white individuals. But I also see it, amongst other demographics as well. Um, somebody that may be white and but they may be poor, and they tend to live in these centralized areas, especially in Newton. And that, of course, this goes back, I think, many years ago, when I can't remember what, I think it was like the Housing Act or Fair Housing Act or something like that, and how it more benefited white people more than anything. So you were seeing higher concentrations of segregated areas that weren't getting the resources that white neighborhoods were. They didn't have as much access to good health care, even clean water and healthy food. These are just things that have been continuously inaccessible for a lot of people. And it really bothered me. And something that made me particularly emotional was learning about, even though I had sort of an idea, but wasn't quite as informed as I thought I was, about Black women and brown women having higher rates of particularly postpartum death after pregnancy. And it really just struck a chord, because there's no reason for any of this to be happening. Even I can't recall what his name was when he was speaking in the video for I think it was the Atlantic Live video where they had like not judges, but like a panel, and the audience could ask questions and stuff like that. He even said that it's possible to care for these women and provide them the same amount of care as their white female counterparts. There's just not enough that's being done to prevent pregnancy-related deaths amongst people of color. So that, just like I said, really got me emotional and in my feelings, because this country is just, it's had a history of separation and separating people based on race, which, as we've learned, is a made up concept. Basically, there is no such thing as biological race, which makes it even more unfortunate that things like this is still happening, because people are basically still being judged by the color of their skin, and they're being treated as such, and it shows how much more work this country has to do in terms of desegregating itself, because in certain aspects we are very much still a segregated society, and we need to just keep fighting for equal rights, for everybody, for all marginalized individuals, But, yeah, I really want to see some change soon, um, because these things are preventable, and not just with pregnant women, but like with the housing issue as well, the social detriments of health. We have the ability to change those things, um, but it's just going to take a lot of work. So, um, so there was something else I want to discuss, but I can't quite remember what it is. Um, I want to discuss the feminisms in the air, um, talking about the response to how COVID-19 was handled amongst these marginalized areas, and how, once again, very segregated, and how it greatly affected people of a lower socioeconomic status and of certain skin colors as well. So I think these people were done a great disservice during the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot more deaths could have been prevented, had these people had more resources at their fingertips. So yeah, that I wasn't aware of just how bad these things were, and how they are continuing to happen, and it makes me a little bit uneasy about possible future pandemics in the future, in the future, and how we're going to handle them, how the current legislation is going to handle them. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.